A couple of weeks ago, I placed my order for seeds for this year's garden with Baker Creek Seed, and they all came in. So now it's about time to get the tomato and pepper plants going for the year. I've got all these little plastic greenhouse cells that I use over and over every year, and it's just a matter of filling them up with some potting soil to get going. I like these little tiny cells to start my seeds in. They seem to start better. And I got this big plastic scoop from Harbor Freight that I use to distribute the dirt. That works pretty good. So it's just a matter of filling all the cells up to the top, get them ready to plant the seeds. Then here you see these are some of the tomatoes I'm planting this year. A couple paste tomatoes and then a canning tomato. And then the black crim and the Paul Robeson and the Principe drying tomato. It's just a couple baskets that I made to hold my seeds and whatnot in. And they come in real handy for holding seeds this time of the year and then picking veggies later. I picked up one of these little plastic seed spreaders for the garden, and I wind up using that for starting seeds also. I just place my seeds in, and you have to watch out. Some of these seeds only have maybe 20-25 seeds per package. And then I just take a pair of tweezers and I place 2 seeds in each cell. I don't know, I just place 2 in because sometimes only 1 germinates and sometimes 2 germinate, but it doesn't matter. You can always save the 2 plants if you just plant them on either side of the cell. It takes up a little less room. And then just remember to label them so you know what you're dealing with later on. So I just keep placing seeds in the cells until I've got everything that I want to start in there, and then it's just a simple matter of taking my finger and going back, pressing down the potting soil a little bit to compact it, make sure it comes in contact with the seeds, and then just going back and placing a little bit of water on it. I usually start my tomato seeds first, and then I'll go back a couple days later, and or maybe about a week later, and I'll start my peppers and eggplants. But basically, it's just the same thing over and over, and I find a pair of tweezers makes it a lot easier for me to handle the seeds and make sure I place them in each corner of the cell so I can break them apart later. And I got this old water bottle that I've been using for years that I just use that to put a couple squirts of water on each cell once the seeds are in there. Makes it a pretty easy job for me. And I don't spill much using it. And then these little trays come with like a greenhouse cover that I place on top of them. And once they're all filled with the tomatoes and ready to go, I'll take these trays and I'll place them on top of my refrigerator where it is always pretty much a constant warm temperature to really help them get started. I know some people use like a heat mat that you can put them on, but I find that placing them on top of my refrigerator really helps them germinate, and it saves me having to buy one more item. So there you see them just sitting on my refrigerator now, and it'll take a couple days until they germinate. Now, a couple days later, I went back and I started doing some of the peppers and eggplants, and there they are with a couple leaves showing. I mean, this is right after I took them off the refrigerator. Once they popped through, I put them under the grow lights. Then I start to get some 20-ounce cups ready to transplant them in. I found that these 20-ounce cups work pretty good, and I bought like 1,000 of them from BJ's for I think it was $18, and I just took a Dremel tool and I cut 3 little slots on the bottom of them so they have good drainage. Then I go back and I fill them up with just like a garden type soil. And now the tomato seeds, this is maybe a week and a half later, they have the first couple of leaves on them, and they're ready to go into the larger containers to grow to transplant size. So I just bring out the little seedlings, and I've got this little old fork. It's like a cake fork that I use to dig them out. And then it's a matter of going through and transplanting them into the larger 20-ounce cups. I try to plant the tomato plants as deep as I can. I try to get them so that the dirt comes up to the first set of leaves, and that seems to help them get a little better root system and take off quicker. And this is just another one of those tedious little jobs, and I mean, if you're careful, it goes easy, and really, it's a fun job to do, just to watch these things as they grow. So it's just a matter of if both seeds germinate, then I break the cell in half and I get 2 plants out of it. There's those baskets again. I use them for carrying everything everywhere for my garden, and maybe I'll do a video about how I made them in the future, because they are a real handy thing for whether it's seeds or picking. Then once I transplant them, I make a label to put in each pot. Found out it's safer to put one in each individual pot. I buy these sticks at the dollar store, and they're pretty cheap, so you don't have to worry about it. But that way you can't mix them up later. And if you want to give away a plant or two, the people that get it know exactly what they've got also. So it keeps you from getting everything mixed up, which I have done in the past. So here are the plants. I've got 90 plants this year that I'll be planting. And basically, they've all been transplanted today into the 20-ounce cups. And now they'll go on to their next stage of growth. And then once they're all transplanted, they go back under the grow lights for probably they'll stay under the grow lights until the middle of May, when it's safe to plant around here. And pretty much, if you watch them every day, you'll see that they seem to grow a little bit. It's amazing how fast they take off. They usually are in shock for maybe about a day after you transplant them, and then they just take right off. And here you see some of the Japanese white eggplants that are started also. And I got those green trays that they're in at my local dollar store also, and they really help you to be able to handle the plants and to keep stuff from dripping on the floor and whatnot. So here's a couple days later. What you see, the plants are probably about maybe 4 to 5 inches tall. And like I said, they're just going to grow now for another 2.5 weeks or so, and they'll be ready for the garden. And these are just some of the pepper plants that have been started a lot later after the tomatoes. So as you can see, starting plants is pretty easy, and it lets you get exactly what you want. So give it a try. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.